A powerful demonstration of Luxembourg's commitment to strengthening bilateral ties between the two nations. President Mutharika was speaking at Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe on Monday when he held an audience with the Luxembourg Deputy Prime Minister, who is in the country for a 3-day visit. During their discussions, Professor Mutharika outlined his vision for Malawi's economic transformation, emphasizing the shift from predominantly importing and consuming economy to the producing and exporting one. Maintumodzi reports.
President Professor Peter Mutharika has reaffirmed Malawi's commitment to deepening its partnership with the government of Luxembourg. Outlining his vision for Malawi's economic transformation, President Mutharika emphasized the shift from a predominantly import-dependent and consumption-driven economy to one that produces and exports. He noted that immediate challenges relating to food, fertilizer, foreign exchange and fuel are being addressed, while efforts continue to stabilize the economy, reduce inflation and lower interest rates. The president emphasized Malawi's peace, hardworking and well-educated labor force, together with supportive policies as key advantages for business growth. The Malawi leader also extended best wishes to Luxembourg in its candidature for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. He further noted that Malawi currently chairs the SADC Troika's Peace and Security Organ and is on course to join the African Union Peace and Security Council, reflecting the country's growing role in promoting regional peace and stability. For his part, Luxembourg's Deputy Prime Minister, Xavier Bettel, congratulated President Mutharika on his electoral victory, noting the rare level of support and trust he has earned. He expressed strong interest in working closely with Malawi to help realize the president's vision for national transformation.
And to be very frank, to be in an African country where you have a president who was elected but then was taken out of by a justice court and then again won the election, doesn't happen very often in Africa. And to have a democracy and to have fair and free elections and to have a country where I don't have a general who took the power is for the moment something which is for partnership and for trusted relations very important.
The Deputy Prime Minister is expected to have several engagements in the country before signing a general cooperation agreement on Tuesday, a milestone expected to broaden collaboration across multiple sectors. Maintumodzi, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Now, President Mutharika is this morning expected to preside over the swearing-in ceremony of Simon Itaye as Minister of Industrialization, Business, Trade and Tourism. A statement from the Office of the Chief Secretary indicates that the ceremony will take place at Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe at 11 o'clock this morning. Itaye replaces George Partridge, who was recently appointed Governor of the Reserve Bank of Malawi. Minister of Finance Joseph Mwanamveka says government started large-scale payments to pensioners since January 2026. Mwanamveka also announced that government is committed to reducing the waiting period to 3 months for pensioners to receive their dues. We have a report by Barbara Mwandira.
Government has committed to large-scale pension payments and reducing waiting periods to 3 months. His Excellency Professor Peter Mutharika made a promise to Malawians that Malawi will be better again.
Malawi Anzanga, Malawi is now free.
Pensioners faced hardships due to lengthy period as they were waiting for their payments. And in this regard, Professor Mutharika directed the Ministry of Finance to take a swift action in ensuring that pensioners receive their dues. Minister of Finance Joseph Mwanamveka says government started large-scale payments to pensioners since January, despite facing economic hardships.
Our President, Professor Mutharika, was quite concerned that there are a lot of people that are suffering. The people that had worked in government, they had provided good services to Malawians, but then some of them were not paid their pensions and gratuities for more than 3 years. And these are the people that had provided services. So the President, Professor Mutharika, directed that we needed to make sure that these people are paid. because some of them they were failing to pay school fees, some of them are failing to make ends meet, and even some have even died without getting their benefits. So the president directed us that we need to put enough resources in the budget, in the midterm budget, which we presented in October, to ensure that we make sure that we reduce the waiting period from 3 years to at least a minimum of 3 months, waiting period of 3 months.
Warrant Officer Hamilton Bwanali says he can afford a smile after government's commitment in quick payments. He says life was tough before receiving the benefits.
Life was very difficult because, without money you cannot survive. Life was difficult. We have got kids who are going to school, farming, all the grandpapas at home. We were failing to help them just because we had no money. Bravo DPP. Yes, they have done a good work. They are doing a good work because we are no longer waiting for a long time. They promised to give us money from January to at least March, but we are receiving money. Majority of us are receiving money.
The Accountant General, Sunganani Mandala, has commended government's efforts in paying large-scale terminal benefits to the pensioners.
Within the budget, for each and every year, we put aside the resources that we should pay the pensioners. I'm sure with this kind of commitment that the government has shown, I think we are going to sustain the payments of the civil servants' salaries. It's really exciting that we have got a minister who is very much committed to make sure that all the obligations that we have for the retired civil servants is met. Similarly, I think we have a head of state that in the first place directed us that we make sure that we identify resources to pay all the retired civil servants. So I'm sure going forward this is going to be sustained.
About 12,000 people to benefit from the large-scale pension payments, and so far 6,000 people have been paid since January. They can now afford a smile, as they used to spend lengthy periods in order to get their payments. Professor Thabita Mutharika's government is committed to the welfare of Malawians.
Now, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Piri, has expressed concern over Zomba City Council's failure to collect above-average local revenue. The minister has since called on the council to devise new strategies to reverse the trend. Austin Fukula reports.
During the Minister of Local Government's visit to Zomba City Council, officials showed him that out of 2.7 billion kwacha budgeted in the 2025-2026 financial year, the city has managed to collect over 1.2 billion kwacha in 10 months, representing 48% revenue collection. This was realized through donor aid, property rates, market and license fees, among others. However, Piri said he will send his officials to the city to help them on how to improve revenue collection, as he is not impressed with the current trajectory.
We will have experts, the National Government Finance Committee and other relevant teams to come and help them, particularly on two areas. One, local revenue enhancement plan, and number two, governance. I think we have got a bit of a problem that requires sorting out as soon as possible. I must be quick to mention that these movements that I'm doing are meant to prepare the councils for the CDF that is coming.
During the visit to the council, the minister also appreciated quality infrastructure development of Chinseu Police Unit at Chingare, constructed with funds from governance to enable self-delivery JSEED program.
We're looking at a full package. That is why you have seen that the police unit has got a house. Going forward, we want to have the minimum number of houses. At least this is one. So we will pick it up from there. In terms of a council as council, we have discussed and agreed on how we deal with certain things, some of which are bottlenecks within the procurement chain.
In response, Mayor for Zomba City Council, Christopher Jana, says they have put in place more measures to increase revenue collection by, among other things, updating property data.
Give the technical team to give me a report on that one, first one, and they should also give me the strategy they will put within the 2 weeks. But I can assure you things will improve.
Meanwhile, Zomba District Council plans to construct its own offices outside the city to bring services closer to the people. Austin Fugula, NBC News, Zomba.
The Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development, Rosa Fachi Mbirizi, has challenged the Blantyre Water Board, BWB, to improve on its service delivery. Speaking during a meeting with the management of BWB, Mbirizi said the board is failing to fully deliver its mandate. Mbirizi pointed out that the continued unreliability of water supply in the city is a cause for worry. Jeffrey Shinawa reports.
Addressing the Blantyre Water Board management, the minister has challenged the board to work extra hard on addressing the problem of non-revenue water. Currently, the percentage of non-revenue water stands at 44%, a development which is said to be affecting operations of the utility body. Meanwhile, Mbirizi has also disclosed that government will not allow the board to consider raising up the water tariffs without improving on its efficiency.
But there are issues that need to be addressed in terms of efficiency, and the bill for our debtors is quite high. And then there's the issue of non-revenue water. That needs to be addressed seriously, because at the rate we are going, the board will not, provide the kind of service that they are supposed to. One of the most important areas for me as a minister and as a citizen is the reduction of the non-revenue water and the improvement in collection of revenue from whoever is getting their services. Because as you saw, we are at a very, very high debt level, and that is not healthy for any institution. And if the non-revenue water is at 44%, it means we are starting at a very low base. So those are serious issues, very serious. They will be increased only when we've seen that they have done all they could and there is need for increase in tariffs. Because if the non-revenue water is at 44%, it means if they improve the efficiency levels, maybe there will be no need to increase tariffs. So they should not rush into the increase of tariffs when they have not done what they're supposed to do.
Reacting to the minister's concerns, one of the board members for Blantyre Water Board, George Enea, committed to support the management in dealing with the challenges.
For 1.4 million people, the one you're using Blantyre Water Board, we make sure they have got a lot of water and no any problem.
The other problems the board pointed out to the minister are the energy costs and aging equipment. BWB supplies water to about 1.4 million customers in Blantyre and surrounding areas. Jeffrey Shinawa, NBC, Blantyre.
And this is NBC News, a reminder of our top stories. President Mutharika describes the visit by the Deputy Prime Minister of Luxembourg as a demonstration of his country's commitment to strengthening its bilateral ties with Malawi. Government commits to make large-scale pension payments to 12,000 people. And police in Lilongwe are yet to charge 2 former top government officials following their arrest yesterday. Welcome back. Police in Lilongwe are yet to charge 2 former top government officials following their arrest on Monday. The 2 are former Secretary to the President and Cabinet Colin Zamba and former Minister of Agriculture Sam Kawale. In an interview with NBC, National Police publicist Lero said Kawale handed himself over to police in the early hours of yesterday. Chintembo further said that Zamba was picked later in the afternoon after a joint investigation between the Malawi Police and the Anti-Corruption Bureau, ACB. He said the two will be taken to court once necessary procedures are complete, keeping a tight lid on the reasons for their arrests. Now, government has refused to borrow 72.8 billion kwacha from banks and other financial institutions from last week's Treasury bills and Treasury notes auction. The auction is conducted by the Reserve Bank of Malawi. Justin Nkweu has more in this report.
Treasury bills and Treasury notes are government instruments used to borrow money locally to finance both recurrent and development expenditure. According to a report from RBM, at the last week's auction, government wanted to borrow 83 billion kwacha and it was offered 72.8 billion kwacha, which the government rejected. Speaking in an interview with MBC Treasury spokesperson Williams Banda said the government rejected on 3 grounds, namely the interest rates were high, government wants to reduce debt, and government wants to utilize other means of revenue before borrowing. Banda added that this will also help the private sector to access credit which would have rather gone to government, and the development does not mean government operations will be jeopardized.
We also realized that most of the commercial banks were holding some of our revenues. So hence we decided to enhance the revenue collection to ensure that most of the revenues are cleared with the Reserve Bank in order for us to determine the exact amount that we can borrow. Suffice to say that it didn't pose any threat at all. Borrowing cannot be stopped, only that we would want to ensure that we are reducing the borrowing while we are enhancing domestic revenue mobilization in order to reduce the fiscal deficit.
RBM spokesperson Boston Banda said while government will continue borrowing, the development means it wants to borrow wisely. Banda emphasized that the bank will continue to conduct auctions in line with its mandate. Minister of Finance Joseph Mwanamveka has been emphasizing that among thorns of the economy which he wants to deal with are high levels of debt and high bank interest rates. Justin Nkweu, MBC News, Blantyre.
Slightly over 100 young entrepreneurs in the country stand a chance of accessing grants ranging from $15,000 to $25,000 to boost their businesses. This is through a partnership between the government of Malawi and the World Bank under the Southern African Trade and Connectivity Project. Speaking in Lilongwe during a training session on pitching strong business ideas, Project Manager at the Ministry of Transport, Hastings Ngoma, said that beyond maintaining roads and railway routes along the Nakala corridor, the project also focuses on empowering businesses within the corridor. Isaac Jali reports.
For many youth-owned enterprises, capital raise or access to finances to boost their businesses remain some of the challenges impeding growth of their businesses. The 5-day training by the World Bank-funded Southern Africa Trade and Connectivity Project therefore aims to equip hundreds of enterprises with business skills and financial management. According to one of the consultants, at the end, 100 business enterprises that will fulfill the requirements will be given grants to boost their businesses.
This project, the SATSIP project, they identified a number of entrepreneurs through an advert where they asked people to apply and submit their business plans, where now they have to be equipped with skills of how they can grow their businesses, but also how they can present their business plans in order to attract investors. So at the moment we are helping the entrepreneurs to get better at running a business with the objective of scaling up, but not only scaling up, but also to play on the regional trade. We are also looking at the impact of these entrepreneurs with regard to contributing positively to youth employment, but also gender, to take into account issues of women getting into the business platform. In addition to that, we are also looking at regional integration, where these businesses should not just think local, but they should think beyond the borders. How can they take part as we are trying to help our country to improve in its forex generation.
Bodwin Banda of Cloud9 General Dealers is one of the beneficiaries of the training and thanked government of Malawi and the World Bank for the initiative, saying it has the potential to help boost many youth-owned businesses in the country and to help young entrepreneurs boost cross-border trade among Malawi, Zambia and Mozambique.
As a young entrepreneur, to me, I'm seeing it as not just a competition, but it's beyond that. Because if you look at the grant, it's beyond that. When we have secured the grant, we should be able to start up something that we can also impart others. They say if we have secured that grant, it will be able to create more opportunities for us, like to manage your own company. In so doing, you are also employing others, which is also a great aspect of sustainability in the business sector.
Hastings Ngoma is project manager of the World Bank-funded Southern Africa Trade and Connectivity Project at the Ministry of Transport and Public Works, and says, among others, the project looks to empower 9 value chains along the Nakala corridor, such as groundnuts, soya and rice production and value addition, beekeeping, among others.
SATSIP, we are providing grants. We have competitive grants and the matching grants. And today we are doing now the business planning competition, which is now the smaller grants, whereby a lot of firms applied. Now we selected. What we want to do now, the few selected, want now to build the capacity on them on how to light the bankable projects. From there, now we will select the firms that will qualify for the grants.
The Southern Africa Trade and Connectivity Project is a World Bank-funded project, and it's being implemented to facilitate trade in Malawi, Mozambique and Zambia. Here in Malawi, the project is maintaining the Liwonde-Matawale Road beside construction of Mlodza one-stop border post. Isaac Jali, MBC, Lilongwe.
The African Union AU has commended Malawi for making significant strides in promoting and protecting the rights of women and girls, attributing the progress to board judicial decisions and key reforms in the education sector. The remarks were delivered by the AU Special Rapporteur on the Rights of Women in Africa, Janet Ramatuli Salanji, during the National Conference on Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights held in Salima. Smart Chalika reports.
According to Salanje, her mission was not only to acknowledge Malawi's achievements, but also to encourage stronger implementation of the country's obligations under various African human rights instruments. She particularly lauded the judiciary for playing a pioneering role in advancing women's rights.
Our mission is twofold: to come in, to commend the Republic of Malawi for its strides made within the judiciary in terms of jurisprudence and also legislation, and in this case, to be precise, strides made in the development of sexual and reproductive health rights, especially of minor girls, who are victims of sexual violence. And the very transformative High Court jurisprudence that clearly elaborates that minor children, especially girls who are victims of sexual violence, should be accorded access to safe abortion.
Echoing the statements, Deputy Director for Family Planning in the Ministry of Health, Juliana Kanyangambera Mubanga, highlighted measurable improvements in health outcomes. She cited decline in maternal mortality rates and increased uptake of family planning services as a clear indicators of progress.
We have made tremendous strides in terms of sexual reproductive health rights issues. We have managed to reduce the maternal mortality, even though it's still very high. Well, as a nation, we would want it to be at 110 by 2030. But at this point, if we use the UN estimate, we are at 225, which is not bad. We are still waiting for the statistics from the survey that was recently conducted.
The conference brought together government officials, human rights institutions, and civil society organizations to assess gains made and address remaining challenges in advancing sexual and reproductive health and rights in Malawi. Smart Chalika, MBC, Lilongwe.
And in sport, the Netball Association of Malawi and its partners Mukuru have held the recently concluded Mukuru Under-21 National Netball Cup for meeting its objectives. The tournament ended on Sunday as Vanessa Sisters Reserves were crowned champions. Norbert Jameson has details in this report.
The national finals were played at Kuhes Sports Complex in Blantyre, with 12 teams in action, 3 from each of the 4 netball regions. Vanessa beat Young Eagles by 45 to 38 goals in a capital city derby to win the inaugural edition. Netball Association of Malawi President Vitumbiko Kubuduza described the tournament as crucial in the national team rebuilding exercise.
The reason for having this tournament, when we discussed with the sponsor, has materialized. We wanted to find a lot of talent in the young ones because that's the future of netball, and I think we've managed to do that. We've found some great heights, some great talent, and I believe that as we are finding or trying to recruit the under-21 national team, we have found that future in these girls.
Mukuru country manager Pride Chiwaya said the tournament has achieved its objectives.
We are also happy because we have managed to achieve the key objectives of this tournament. Basically what we wanted is to provide a platform for the young girls to showcase their skills while we are strengthening the national team through identification and development of grassroots talent. So overall, we are impressed with what we have seen.
Board member for the Malawi National Council of Sports, Escort Chinula, graced the final alongside Blantyre City Mayor Isaac Jomo Osman and Director of Sports in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Justice Nsoperam.
Malawi government wants to achieve so that sports is well governed and sports is well developed, especially from the undergrounds and from the grassroots level. So coming in of Mukuru is also giving us a clear picture of what even the government wants to achieve as we are developing sports from the grassroots level.
The champions, Vanessa, pocketed 5 million kwacha, while Eagles received 3 million kwacha. As for Kukoma Diamonds Babies, who finished third, walked away with 2 million kwacha. In the individual awards category, Vanessa's Mpatso Banda was named player of the tournament, while MBC's Foster Maulidi scooped the Best Television Journalist Award. Norbert Jameson, MBC Sport.
And that item concludes this edition of MBC News, a recap of our top stories before we leave. President Mutharika describes the visit by the Deputy Prime Minister of Luxembourg as a demonstration of his country's commitment to strengthening its bilateral ties with Malawi. Government commits to make large-scale pension payments to 12,000 people. And police in Lilongwe are yet to charge 2 former top government officials following their arrest yesterday. Keep up to date with our news coverage on our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You're with me, Sifatim Susa. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Good morning, and it's time for weather forecast. We are currently still expecting cloudy conditions to persist over most areas in the north, as well as some areas over the central, accompanied by isolated thunderstorms and rain, which will be heavy in some areas. However, we are still expecting partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas in the south, as well as some parts over the central, accompanied by dry conditions. This is all due to the influence of the divergence which is still happening over the southern part of the country, even though we are receiving southeasterly winds, and then the northern part of the country is still being influenced by the intertropical convergence zone, ITCZ, which is influencing cloudy conditions as well as isolated thunderstorms and rains. This is why this morning partly cloudy conditions are persisting over most areas in the south, but cloudy conditions and localized thunderstorms and rains are dominating most areas over the north. Temperatures are also still feeling mild this morning over most areas in the southern part of the country, but it's generally cool over the central in areas such as Lilongwe, Nchinji, Kasungu and Doa at around 16 degrees Celsius. This afternoon, we should also expect partly cloudy conditions to persist over the southern part of the country, but cloudy conditions accompanied by localized thunderstorms and rains are expected to persist over some areas in the central as well as the north. Temperatures are also expected